Push P. Yeah, push P. Turn me up. Turn me up, P. Corners in the paddock, get my piece. Push P. Cop new hammers for my P. We don't want.
Hello to my beautiful and vivacious brothers and sisters of the Cree crew. This is Cree, and thank you so much for clicking on this video, and welcome to part 3 of the Messy Auntie series, where we are talking about Dawn Robinson.
Jackie, don't you start that messy shit. Don't start with me today. I'm like her. Don't start that today.
All right, no more wasting time. Let's get right on to it. So we've talked about, in the previous 2 videos, we talked about Dawn's upbringing, how she came into the business, how she came into En Vogue, and the ups and downs of that, who she's had beefs with, how she came to be living in her car, the beef that she had with her ex-husband, with the R&B divas, and also with Raphael Sadiq. So we covered all of that already. So now we're going to cover the biggest thing, the moment that everybody's been waiting for and talking about, and that is Dawn's time and eventual fallout with her sisters from the group En Vogue. So, as I stated in the very first video, when Dawn was about 22 years old in 1989, she was attending an all-day concert with a friend of hers when she was discovered by a man that thought that she had the perfect look for a singing group that some friends of his were trying to put together. These friends of his were a management and production team, 2 men by the name of Thomas McElroy and Denzel Foster. And they ran a company called Too Tough Enough Productions. Now, Thomas and McElroy were original members of this 80s R&B group by the name of Club Nouveau. I know a lot of y'all know who that is. At least I know my old heads do. And when Club Nouveau disbanded, they branched out and started their own production company called Too Tough Enough, where they signed other artists and started writing and producing for these other artists. One of the groups that they signed, which I mentioned in my previous video, was Tony. So meanwhile, while Tony was steadily climbing up the charts, Thomas and McElroy figured, hey, let's see if we can put together a girl group. Let's see if we can do a modern day Supremes. Find 3 girls in the area that has the look, that can sing. They might not even be able to sing that well, but if you know, we can work with that. But at least they should be able to look good. So one of their friends, while this friend was out at this all-day concert, he just so happened to spot Dawn while Dawn was there with her friend. He approached Dawn and asked her if she was a model, and she looked at him crazy and was like, hell no, I ain't no model. When she saw him again, he approached her again and was like, okay, you're not a model, but can you sing? A few days later, he came to her house, heard her sing. I think she sang like Minnie Riperton or something like that. He was blown away and was like, yes, you absolutely need to audition. Eventually she did. That's where she met Terry. That's where she met Cindy. And that's where she met Maxine. And Maxine's roommate, name was Jordana, was also there, but she didn't make the group. I won't get too deep all into the history of that because all of that is in part 1. But I'm just kind of leading you up to where we gonna get to, which is the beef and the messiness. So fast forward, the debut album came out in April of 90. It blew up. By that point, everybody knew who En Vogue was. 2 years later, they came out with Funky Divas. That did even better numbers than the first numbers, and it blew up some more. Then in 94, they came out with Runaway Love, which was an EP. That one wasn't a full album. And then following Runaway Love, they took a break so Terry could do her solo album, which was titled Southern Gal. But it had one minor hit, Wherever You Are. So in the following year, in the fall of 96, they came back together so they could start work on their fourth album, their third full-length album, but their fourth album altogether. It was also around this time that the movie Set It Off was set to be released, and En Vogue was to do one of the lead singles off of the soundtrack. The name of that song is called Don't Let Go, and to this day, that is their biggest, most successful single. And just as things were starting to heat up with the group and they were riding high off of that single and getting ready to start recording for the fourth album, Dawn left the group. Dawn left the group and nobody knew why. You know, we were all told, oh, well, she left to pursue a solo career. Which is true, which is half true, but that's not the whole truth. Apparently, there was more to that story that we didn't know. And according to Dawn, there was a lot that happened and that transpired that led up to her departure. Because first off, according to Dawn, she never wanted to leave En Vogue. That was never her plan to leave En Vogue. She was fired. She was kicked out the group. She wasn't trying to leave. In fact, she was supposed to be doing her own solo album. After Terry did her solo album, Dawn was supposed to have hers done. But while she was in the middle of recording her solo album, the label exec basically came to her and told her they were pulling the plug on it and they needed to go ahead and get started on the next En Vogue album. And she was pissed about that. And them pulling the plug on her project was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back. So in order to make sense of what happened with that, we kind of got to go back to the beginning on this. So let's go back to the first album, Born to Sing, in 1990. So when En Vogue first signed their deal in 1989, they were signed to Atlantic, which was headed by Sylvia Rhone. And then they also had a production deal with Too Tough Enough production. So all of their business dealings was done with Too Tough Enough. They didn't have any dealings or any direct association with Atlantic other than the fact that they were the ones that was going to be providing and distributing out the albums for them. Now, with most new artists and groups that come out, that first deal that you sign might not be a great one. It's not going to always be a good deal because you're new coming out. A lot of these record companies are not going to invest their time and money into you, at least not at that point, because no one knows who you are. So that first initial deal that you sign might be a crappy one. And then it kind of just depends on how that first album sells. Now, if the first album sales goes well, then by the time that the second album comes, then you go back in and you renegotiate the terms on your contract to get a better contract. And apparently that didn't happen with En Vogue. So see, when En Vogue first started, when they first signed their deal, each girl was only to get 2 pennies per record sold.
Damn!
Yes, you heard that correctly. According to Dawn, each girl, Dawn, Terry, Maxine, and Cindy, all only received 2 cents per record sold on Born to Sing. And when Born to Sing, when they saw how well Born to Sing did, then what was supposed to have happened was they were supposed to go back in and renegotiate the terms when it came to the second album, Funky Divas, being released. That didn't happen. When Funky Divas got released, they were still only getting 2 pennies a record. Meanwhile, everybody around them, the production team, the dancers, the staff, everybody is getting paid well except the 4 girls that's on stage working their asses off every night. They ain't getting no money, but everybody else around them getting money. Dawn told the story about how their manager Denzel Foster invited them all over to his new mansion that he had just bought for $20 million, a $20 million mansion. So he got a $20 million mansion. He got a new whip every year. Meanwhile, Dawn is staying in a 1-bedroom apartment on a ground floor, driving a Ford Fiesta with a leaky oil pan. Huh? And Dawn felt the way, and she didn't hold back, and she was just like, oh, Oh, okay. So this is what our money bought you, huh? This is what our money be buying you? And then he gonna try to clean it up. Oh, no, it ain't $20 million. It ain't $20 million. It was foreclosed on, so it was only $8 million. Bruh, $8 million? I barely got $800. And you got enough to buy $8 million mansion? For real?
You don't understand is while you were running your mouth with him, I was running to the bank, sweetie. And depositing a Trump check. Honey, Donald Trump. I am very rich, bitch.
And so by the time they got ready to go back in and start recording for the fourth album, which would have been the EV4 album, they were still under the same terms that they were on the first album. They were still only getting 2 pennies a record. What the hell?
That ain't right.
But according to Dawn, there was only one person. There was only one person that was constantly stopping these renegotiations from happening. And that person was Terry Ellis. Terry Ellis, who got to do her solo album. The only one that got to do her solo album, who also at the time just so happened to be dating Denzel Foster, one of the managers. You know how that go, child. Now you know how that go. It seemed like it happened in every group. That one in the group that's messing with the manager, that's dating the manager, they the one that's gonna get the special privileges. They the one that's gonna get taken care of. And that one is leaving the other group members to the wayside. And that's what happened in this case, allegedly, according to Dawn. But also, I'm thinking what's happening in this instance is I believe Terry was possibly being influenced and maybe even brainwashed by her boyfriend to not do no renegotiations. Oh, you don't need to do no renegotiations. Y'all cool where y'all at. Don't I take care of you? Don't I do this, that, and souping her head up, talking the sweet nothings in her ear. And then she just kind of went in. She just kind of fell for it. So she put love in that good peen ahead of the business, ahead of the money. She listening to her man, not realizing that it's her man that's taking the money from her. She ain't got the money. She should be having that money too. And that's not saying that he shouldn't have the money, because, hey, he and Thomas McElroy both worked hard, writing the songs and doing the producing and all of that. So yeah, they deserve the money that they got, but En Vogue deserved that money too. I'm like, damn, at least when TLC came out, at least TLC got 56 cents. They got 56 cents, so what divided between them three, what is that, about 17, 18 cents per record sold for each girl? En Vogue only got 2 cents, 2 pennies a record, not even a dime, not even a nickel a record, 2 pennies. That's terrible. Them bitches was robbed. And Thomas and McElroy had Terry in their back pocket, and all they had to do was say, hey, man, you don't need to do no renegotiation. Leave them alone. Because y'all know that's how we do. Y'all know that's how we do when we in love. Child, when we in love, nothing else in this world matters. And she probably thinking, well, he taking care of me. He buy me this and this and this, so it don't even matter. Not realizing that money is his, it's not yours. And once y'all ain't together, that money ain't gonna be yours no more. It's still gonna be his. Because when it comes to them renegotiations, all 4 members have to be in attendance. They all have to be there. And if Terry's not there, if Terry's not down with it, and if she's like, oh, well, I don't really want to, if she ain't there, then the group can't renegotiate, and they're still gonna constantly be stuck in that same contract that they were with the first album. Part of me believe that that's the reason that Terry was able to nab that solo deal, to kind of, in a sense, keep her quiet, to kind of pacify her, to keep her from being sucked in by the rest of the members of the group. Let me keep you separated over here. Well, no, here, let's give you a solo deal. Let's give you your own solo deal. Because while she was doing her solo album and touring, the other girls just kind of sat back and did nothing. They didn't do anything. But then they still had to find a way to get Dawn out the way because Dawn was not backing down. She absolutely was not backing down at all. According to Dawn, she was the only one that was really trying to help to get the group financially stable in other ways. Okay, we might not be able to sell these albums, but let's do other things. Let's find a company and do a makeup endorsement. Like I believe there was a time when Dawn had made a suggestion about them going to do like an endorsement deal with MAC Cosmetics and kind of have like a makeup line or a lipstick line, and they were going to call it like Divas or Funky Divas or something like that. She had made that suggestion, and then the other girls didn't want to do it. They was like, oh, but that's too much work. She was definitely on their necks. That's for sure. So basically, to shut Dawn up, they offered her a solo deal too. While Terry was in the process of completing and releasing her album, then that's when they approached Dawn to do her own solo album. And I don't know if maybe it's because Terry's album didn't do that well that they figured, well, Dawn's album might not be able to sell as well, so then they just pulled it when they did, or if it was for a reason that was a little more sinister, and if that was to stop her from constantly crying about renegotiations until they got ready to start recording for the next album. But whatever the reason was, Dawn was absolutely not having it and wanted to be released out of her solo contract with Atlantic. She said, I'll still do my En Vogue project. I still won't leave En Vogue, but as far as me doing my solo deal goes, no, I want y'all to release me from that and not so I can go somewhere else and record. It's not affecting nothing that I'm doing with En Vogue. And it was at that point that she said everybody just kind of ganged up on her. Sylvia Rome was like, well, we don't need to have hidden agendas in the group, and we don't need to have people doing side stuff out the group. And Dawn was like, how was this a hidden agenda? Ma'am, this was your idea. You the one that told me to do the solo album. Y'all the one that came to me to have to do the solo deal. You even heard the songs that I've been working on and you said that you loved them. Now all of a sudden I got a hidden agenda? Said Terry did a solo album. Y'all didn't have no problem with that. Why is it so different when Terry do a solo album as opposed to when I do it? And then when she said that, then Terry just came in and was like, it just is, Dawn. It just is. Basically saying, bitch, don't worry about why I'm doing my album. Why it's different with me. It just is. Don't worry about what I'm doing over here. And she was pissed about it. And I mean, understandably so. I've been riding with this group for 7 years, traveling all over the world, rocking stage after stage, after concert after concert, after tour, and I'm still making the same money that I was making when I first started 7 years ago. Y'all come at me with this opportunity to do a solo deal, and as much as I would rather do something with the group, but seeing that we're not doing anything right now because we waiting on Terry, I ain't got no money coming in. I'm about to lose my house because she's about to lose her house then too. That same house that she ended up losing when she was with Raphael Sadiq, she was trying to save her house back then too. The last full-length album was in 92. They did their EP in 94. Here it is now, 96. What y'all expect me to do about money? OnlyFans wasn't a thing back then. So it ain't like I can just go and just create something online and get rich real quick. It ain't that. It wasn't that easy back then. And Sylvia was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. Dawn, what's it gonna be? What is it gonna be? You in or you out? You with the group or you ain't with the group? Or you staying or you going? And Dawn was like, well, shoot, if that's how it's gonna be, if that's how y'all want to play this, then hey, I'll go, and I'll run this race on my own. Because the way I see it, somebody gonna want to sign me. Somebody's gonna sign me, and they're gonna definitely give me more than 2 pennies a record. But that was a messed up deal that they got. It was a very messed up deal. That's pretty much like you got a promotion. You got a promotion at your job, but you didn't get a raise. It's like you got upgraded to a newer, higher position, but your pay is still the same that it was when you first started working there. Who does that? That's unfair. So, by the spring of 1997, Dawn Robinson was no longer in En Vogue. And the 3 remaining girls, Terry, Cindy, and Maxine, went ahead and released their 4th album, which was titled EV3. Now don't get me wrong. EV3 was not a bad album. It was not. And everybody definitely did try to give it a chance, but it just wasn't the same. It just was not the same without Dawn. And quite frankly, En Vogue has never been the same after Dawn left. Their last hit song, which was their biggest song to date, was the song that Dawn was singing lead on. Like I said, EV3 was a good album, but that magic was gone. The magic was no longer there, and it hasn't been there since. The rest of the girls thought that they could do better and they could go on without her, and they were wrong. They were wrong. Now, En Vogue is still very much active today, but there has definitely been some lineup changes in the group since Dawn left. Let's see, Dawn left in 97. I believe Maxine left in either 99 or 2000. When Maxine left, they brought in another young lady. I believe her name is Amanda Cole. She didn't stay in it for very long, and then they brought in Rona Bennett. I think Rona came into the group in 2003, and she's pretty much been there ever since. Maxine has left and come back to the group a couple of times. I believe she's back with them now, so I believe they are a quartet again. But the truth of the matter is, nobody's checking for En Vogue like that no more. Nobody's really checking for En Vogue, and they haven't been for, well, I would probably fair to say 25, damn near 30 years at this point, because the last album that I remember from them was that EV3 album that came out in 97. I don't remember anything that they did after that. And the only time that En Vogue really ever came back into the news or came back into the forefront is when Dawn came back. In 2009, Dawn came back to En Vogue, and that was a huge deal when that happened. I think, what was it, the BET Awards? I think it might have either been the BET Awards or the VMAs. I know Alicia Keys did sort of a musical tribute where she was paying love and homage to the groups of the 90s. En Vogue was there, TLC was there, SWV was there. And so when everybody saw Dawn on stage, saw En Vogue on stage and saw Dawn was with them, that was huge. Everybody was talking about that. And then after they did that award show performance, then that's when the talks came back of them getting back together so they could do, I think it was a 20-year reunion tour in 2010. That was a 20-year reunion tour. And the tour just consisted of the 4 original members. Rona was not included in that. So after they did the reunion tour, then everything was in the talks and in the works for them to be coming out with a new album with all 5 members at this point, because I believe Rona, I don't know if Rona was still there, even if she had came back or was still there after the tour was over, or if she was going to remain gone. So then the 4 original members, I don't remember how that went, but that joy and that reunion did not last very long, because not long after the tour was over with, Dawn was back out of the group again. And it's for the same reason as before. They can't get it right with the money. It's contract negotiation issues. We can't get it together on that. Oh no, I did forget to mention this. I did forget to mention this part in the second video. After Dawn left Aftermath, Dawn did actually have one solo album. She did have one solo album that came out in 2002. And the name of the album was simply titled Dawn. I believe only one single and one video got released from that album, and I believe it was called Envious. But I mean, it barely made a blip. I don't even think it even made the top 100 in the US. I wonder if a lot of people even remember her even doing a solo album. But I mean, by that point, so much time had gone by. It's just like, new people were coming in, and they just weren't, unfortunately, just wasn't checking for her no more at that point either. You got to strike while that iron is hot. And once that iron starts cooling down, then so is your career. That's just how it is in the music business. So after Dawn and eventually Maxine left the group again in 2011, They were going to start their own group called Heirs to the Throne. But that idea didn't pan out the way that they thought that it would, and by October of 2013, Dawn and Maxine parted ways. In October of 2019, so we're going to fast forward here a few years, the group got back together one last time. This time it was all 5 members, Rona included, where they all performed on stage to pay honor and tribute to Sylvia Rhone. And at that point, there was talks of them doing a 30-year En Vogue reunion to commemorate the 30-year anniversary of the release of their first album, Born to Sing. But that didn't pan out the way everybody hoped that it would, because Dawn was not happy with Rona being there. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? What would your thoughts be on that? Yeah, Rona has been in the group way longer than Dawn has. She's been a group member at En Vogue for over 20 years, but by the time Rona came in the group, En Vogue wasn't even a hot commodity no more. I mean, honestly and respectfully, can anybody name an En Vogue song that came out on any of their albums since their last album in 97? Since that EV3 album, can you name any song from En Vogue after that?
Don't worry, I'll wait.
But at the same time, Rona is still a part of the group. So I don't think, even though, yeah, she wasn't there in the beginning, but she's been there grinding and working when Dawn wasn't there. So to exclude her from that, that might not be the right thing to do. Like, you can't have a Destiny's Child reunion and not include Michelle. That just ain't right. Yeah, she wasn't part of the original 4, and she came in after all the drama and chaos ensued, but she still was very much a part of the group and was very much accomplished in her own right after Destiny's Child broke up. And then Dawn and Maxine tried to come back again and later on in 2019 with a new group called Funky Divas. And then that didn't work, and then they broke up again. Now, at this point, I'm just like, okay, y'all need to figure out what the hell y'all want to do with y'all life, for real. So I think we all pretty much covered the significant beefs that plagued Dawn Robinson in her career. Now, I know the question that's on everybody's mind at this point is Dawn the problem? Is she the villain, or is she the victim? Honestly, I really can't give like a good answer on that. And while it is fair to say that, yeah, maybe at times she definitely had her spoiled and entitled moments, but that doesn't take away from the fact that she was definitely treated unfairly. I can tell by her personality, she's very feisty, she's very opinionated. You can definitely tell that her mama did not raise a weak woman, and she's not afraid to stand up for what she believes is the right thing. She's definitely not one of those ones that goes along to get along. If she sees something ain't right, she gonna say something. Pretty much how like Ice Cube did when he was with NWA, and how Nelly did when he was with the St. Lunatics. They were the ones that was singled out. They were the ones that was ousted and ostracized by the rest of the group because they was the ones that wasn't scared to speak up about the money. Something ain't right in these contracts, and we need to talk about that. And ain't nobody trying to hear them. They just gonna put their asses out at the end. Well, that's not exactly what happened with Nelly, but in the beginning, that was Nelly's story, because they almost put him out the group at first because he was the last one to sign a contract because the contracts wasn't looking right. And that's how the music industry do you. They expect you to come in green and naive, and they're gonna sweet talk you however they can so they can get as much money up off of you as possible and leave you with the scraps, and will use you up and milk you dry, and then will toss you over when you are no longer of use to them. I've said this in other videos in the past, y'all. And unfortunately, that's what happened with Dawn. She didn't have the right people behind her. Didn't nobody have her back when she needed it the most. Raphael Sadiq was probably the dirtiest one out of all of them. And then when it came with the problems with En Vogue, with the renegotiations and all that, Dawn wasn't the problem with that. Terry was. Terry was the problem. Terry let that vitamin D get in the way of that money. and why after 4 albums they were still only making 2 goddamn pennies a record. Because she didn't want to renegotiate. I'm fine with the way things are. We don't need to do nothing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. No, man, forget that. We shouldn't be double platinum and I'm still driving around here in a Ford Fiesta. Come on now. But my manager, your man, got an $8 million mansion? Really? No, it ain't going down like that. No way, not on my watch.
Not on my watch.
But as of today, as of the time of this recording in present day, Dawn is still doing her thing. She's still living in her car. But when you watch her on these videos now, she seems happier. Her mind is clearer. She's definitely done a lot of reflecting on a lot of things that has happened in her life. And I will say this. In every interview that I saw that she did, because she did a bunch of interviews back in 2020. If she didn't do 100 interviews, she's damn near there. She did a lot of interviews back in 2020. And I will say that with each interview I saw, her story never ever changed. Her story was the same each and every time. And she did take accountability for the mistakes that she made in her life. She admitted that when it came to Raphael Sadiq, she should have read the contract. She didn't read the contract. She said, I didn't read the contract because I trusted him. When she was still with En Vogue and they approached her about doing a solo deal, she didn't tell anybody. She didn't tell the other girls that she had a solo deal on the table. Because her thing was, well, Terry didn't tell nobody when she was going solo, so I didn't think I had to either. But looking back, she said, you know what, that was the wrong thing to do. She said that was one of my biggest regrets because I think that they lost trust in me after that. But all I was just trying to do was make sure that I kept my house. I wasn't even thinking about any of that. But that was definitely a lesson learned, and I bet she be reading contracts from here on out. I bet she read contracts now. They ain't got that problem now. I don't know if many of you all know this, but Dawn actually does have a YouTube channel on here. She does have a channel. And there seems to be no stopping her at this point. I honestly think this is the route that she should go. She should definitely, maybe look into, I know everybody's doing a podcast now, but that may be where she might find her next level of success. Just create your own lane. And I believe now at 58, almost 59 years of age, that Dawn has finally been able to do that.
This one got to me a little bit because I was just like, I think it's more shocked than anything. Some of the fans were upset because En Vogue was on the Jennifer Hudson show, and Jennifer asked them, who in the group gotten in the most trouble? Trouble, that's me. And Cindy said, she's not here.
Okay, who in the group has gotten in the most trouble?
She's not here.
Oh. Well,
you do not have to be a rocket scientist to put it together. Who she was talking about, she. It's obvious that I'm not there, first of all. Totally different energy. And you need a little trouble. You need some heat in there, y'all. You need a little bit of fire. I'm definitely missing. It is obvious that I'm not there. And then for the other ones to be snickering in the background like little old ladies, like, oh, come on, y'all, grow up. The level of high school pettiness, I cannot believe what I'm watching. You guys are acting like I was the problem because I wouldn't tolerate 2 pennies a record. Maxine, you're falling out. They didn't sue you a few years back. You're acting like they care so much about you. You're just so happy to be around them. As if you totally forgot that you're Maxine Jones, you don't know your worth. It's a matter of when they get upset with you again, that they're gonna kick you out again. You're falling out laughing at the childish comment that Cindy made about me, but a minute ago you were telling me how much you can't stand them because they sued you. They literally sued you and kicked you out. As if they own En Vogue, as if they have the right to kick members out. It's just a matter of time, hon. None of you can erase the legacy that I brought to both of those groups. I'm very proud of both, and I'm disappointed at the reaction from my bandmates. You guys are so petty, but I wouldn't trade this to even be there. I don't know. I'm not interested. Not that they asked me. They didn't ask. They don't want me there because I represent truth. I'm good where I'm at, and I'm building from here. You just saw how I went viral. God is taking me where I need to go. I'm right where I need to be. So fans are asking, If I'm going back now that Maxine is back, I am not going back. You don't run back to what tried to end you or destroy you. I will be in my car until my life changes as I'm making changes happen. I don't have to run back. Oh, I can make some money. I'm desperate. I will never be that desperate. But that's because I stand on my own 2 feet. I know who I am. I know who God is. Back to the topic. It is obvious since I've been gone that they don't have the fire, but it's not because of looks or anything shallow. It was about me speaking up. It was about me not tolerating the bullshit from the record companies. I was too feisty, too smart for my own good in their eyes, and they decided to accept less than what we deserved. And I wasn't willing to, so they had to get rid of me. Which is what people do when they're afraid, instead of standing with the one that's asking for more. Which is what we all deserved. We all should have asked for more. 2 pennies a record was unacceptable. And after a while, it was about their nastiness, their jealousy, and their need to control me. But that's like trying to control the sun. It can't be done, y'all.
Seriously though, I do wish the best for her. I wish the best for her. I want her to win. I really do want her to come out on top in all of this. She's been plagued with so much turmoil and adversity over these past few decades. And I mean, come on, man, give the girl a break. But I do hope that these next chapters in her life will be great ones, because everyone definitely does love a comeback story. But Dawn Robinson, after all that is said and done, at the end of the day, you, ma'am, are still messy as hell. All right, well, that's all I got for y'all. Ooh, Jesus. Ooh, this was a long one. This was a long one. This is why it took so long. This one took long, okay?
Time is slipping away from me. Yeah.
If you have an idea of who you may want me to do a next Messy Auntie story on, please let me know. You know how to reach me. Okay? But anyway, if you have made it this far, please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you all in the next video. My name is Cree Cree, and y'all be easy.